Hey there, and welcome to today's webinar on e-commerce integration essentials. We're so excited that you're here. My name is Kat, and I'm going to be guiding you through today's session. Today, we're going to break down this session into 5 key areas. First, we're going to start with listing your items online. Next, we'll show you how to manage your online listings. After that, we'll move on to returns and refunds. Then we'll talk about listing and selling using eBay directly from Bravo. And finally, we'll wrap up with e-commerce reporting. Now, throughout the session, if you have any questions, by all means, use the chat feature and we'll answer as many as we can throughout. And we also have a section at the very end for questions and answers. So now that we've laid out the agenda, let's go over how Bravo e-commerce platforms work and how they fit into your business. Bravo integrates directly with 4 different e-commerce platforms, each designed for specific types of sales. So first we have Baya. Baya is Bravo's built-in marketplace for general merchandise. It allows you to list items quickly and efficiently while improving your store's visibility through features like geotagging, which helps local buyers find your products more easily. Baya does act like a server for all of the other integrated platforms. So you create the listing on Baya first, and then all that information is shared with these other platforms. Now, eBay is a well-known global market where you can list items as auctions or buy it now sales. Since eBay has its own set of listing requirements, Bravo ensures that everything meets their standards before it goes live, reducing errors and saving time. UsedGuns.com is a firearm-specific version of Baya built in to accommodate those unique requirements for firearm sales while keeping the same easy-to-use structure. Lastly, we have our company-branded website. Now, these are an option for businesses that want to dedicate an online storefront. These sites run on a Baya framework, but are customized to showcase only your inventory, giving your customers a direct way to shop with you online. Now, even if you're not using one of our, or should I say, even if you're using a non-integrated platform like Facebook, Marketplace, or another website, Bravo still makes it easy for you to track those sales using omni-channel tracking. Assigning a sale to an omni-channel ensures that all sales, whether in-store, online, or somewhere else, are all included in your reports. This keeps your reports accurate and helps you track down different sales channels and how they're performing. So what does this all actually add up to? So stores using Bravo's integrated e-commerce platforms have conducted over 40 million in online sales. On average, those customers have sold nearly 100 grand online, and firearm sellers have completed over 500 more firearm transactions than stores not selling online. And if you're wondering about individual sales, the average e-commerce sale comes in at about $198, which really does add up fast. Integrated selling isn't just convenient, it's driving real business and profitability. So if you're interested in getting started with Bravo's e-commerce platforms, but aren't sure where to begin, here's a step-by-step process to get everything set up. First, you're going to decide which option you want to use, payment option. So Bravo does support PayPal and Fortis for online transactions. Now, Fortis is firearm friendly, while PayPal isn't. So if you are planning on selling on usedguns.com, going the Fortis route is probably ideal. Now, if you like, you can also offer Credova, which is a firearm-friendly buy now, pay later option. The next step is to set up your web tab. So once you have your payment method decided, head over to your web tab in System Configurations. This is where you'll create your online store platform, update your About You page, and then add some photos of you, your team, and your store. Next, attend this training session. So if you're not fully set up yet, you're more than welcome to drop off and come back later. Or if you want to stay and learn a little bit more, follow along with us, but you can also join later when you get everything going to use it as a refresher. Lastly, once you have everything all set up, go ahead and open a support ticket with our team, because the final step is getting your e-commerce turned on for your store. To do that, simply open a ticket and tell our team to activate it so you can start listing and selling online. Now, once these steps are completed, you're all set to start selling. So in this section, our goal is to show you how to list items online with the right photos, description, pricing, and settings so they're ready to sell across your integrated platform. So we are going to go ahead and pop out of this presentation and head directly into Bravo. So let's pull up Bravo here. Now, you can list any item that has the inventory of status, but I typically like to start from our priced items queue, because it's usually when we start going through our priced items queue, whether we decide to price it, put it on our sales floor, price it, list it online, or even if it's jewelry, decide that this is going to be scrap. So I always like to start here. There are a handful of things that need to happen in order for an item to be listed. It does have to have an MSRP, a price, and be in a status of inventory. Now, before we get started, I did want to launch this quick poll. Let me pull this up here. And this is just basically trying to see what you think matters most to buyers when they're shopping online. Do you think that it is the photos, description, price, or free shipping? So pick one of them that you think has the most impact on whether someone decides to buy it or not. Now you can click multiple. All right, awesome. So we do have a handful of folks that are selecting multiple. So photos, description, price, and some have even selected free shipping. So we do agree that there's a lot that kind of goes into the success of an online listing. So let's go ahead and end this poll here. And we are going to go ahead and start taking that item and running it through our estimator. So this is where all of those things kind of play in. So when we highlight our item, we're going to head to the Edit Item button in the lower left corner. This is going to pull up our price estimator. So this goes through all of those price guide summaries, basically taking the analytics of what this item is typically selling for as a used item with these same kind of configurations for the assessment. So this is what helps you create that really competitive price for your online listing. Now, in here, we also have the ability to update our photos, adjust any of our assessment questions, because all of this stuff helps build that really detailed description for your item. Here's where you can go in and also update your MSRP and price. So let's go ahead and update this. And the next thing we're going to do is just make sure that this has some really nice photos of our item. So let's pull some photos up here. And we are just going to go ahead and find a few items to add in here. We are going to remove some of the other photos that don't really kind of look nice online, since photos is a big reason why folks want to buy the item. All right, here's another good photo of this item. Okay, so now that we have all of that in place, the very last thing there is to do is just accept this to basically make this an online item. Now, before we do that, one of the things we can go ahead and do is just ensure that this item is being listed online. So if your item has that web box checked, that means as soon as your item saves in your system, it's going to create an online listing for it. So let's go ahead and configure our settings so that it lists to all of the platforms with how we want it to look online. So if this box is not already selected, you can check in there and it will pull up the item details box. However, since this is already selected, we're just going to click this item detail button from the lower left corner. And this is going to pull up all of the configurations we can make for this listing online. So up top, we have our web description, and all of these somewhat light gray boxes are all editable fields. So if the title doesn't look the way you want it to look, you can easily go through and delete out or add what you want to. Right here, it just shows you the character count that you have for that specific area. So all of those assessment questions that we filled out creates that full description for your item. So this includes serial number, the percentage of the condition, as well as what it includes, and those item specifics like memory, screen size, pretty much anything that's collected from that assessment questionnaire. Now, the few things we have right below are going to be how your item is listed. So the store price is going to be what you have the item listed for in store. And we also can have a separate web price. Now, this is really useful for if you want to include other aspects of this item into an all-in-one price. So this could include shipping. This could include the success fees that you're getting charged from Bravo so that you're not really out any additional cash when selling online. So for instance, I'm going to go ahead and bump this up maybe $10 to include the shipping and the success fees. So instead of it being $6.50, I'm just going to go ahead and put that it's going to be $665.99. Now in here, it does tell you the quality where you can drop down that button and adjust it. I always like to under-evaluate the item quality just because when your customer gets it and they're surprised with how good it looks, it's much easier to have them feel positive about what they purchased online when they get something that's better than what they've expected, as opposed to saying, well, it was new and there was this tiny little scratch on the edge of it. Then it's kind of harder to overcome that. You do have the ability to keep the serial number in here or completely get rid of it, depends on how you like, as well as adjusting that tax group here. Now, we do have this sale price listed in this item detail box, and what this does is it allows you to put the item on sale. So if you click on this, the only kicker is that it cannot be more than the in-store price. So if you attempt to put $6.53 and save it out, it's going to say, hey, you can't do that. And if you hover over it, it's going to tell you exactly why. Now, if it won't go away, just go ahead and unselect that box and it's going to take that aspect away from it. Up top, we do have the different platforms that you can list to. So if this is a firearm item, it will automatically show usedguns.com as opposed to Baya. In this case, since it is a general merchandise item, it's going to have these three different platforms that you can list to. So when there's a checkbox in there, this basically lists it to all of those platforms, with exception of eBay, only because there are other configurations to go through, which is how come we have an entire section dedicated to eBay itself. Below here, you can set your return options, your delivery options, and then also for eBay, you can have it as separate delivery options than your other platforms, or you can keep it as the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put this as free shipping. This make an offer option just allows users shopping on Baya to make an offer on the item without it being a set price. Your web notes does have the ability to add more information if you need to. And since we have everything all set in place, we are just going to go ahead and click OK. And when we hit accept, this item will now be off of our priced items queue in our inventory with an online listing available. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this inventory number. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing I did want to show you is that this just basically shows how to list individual items. And Bravo has recently went through and given you the ability to list quantity or SKU items online. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop into our stock management. And I'm going to pull up a SKU to mark it as web enabled. So we're going to head into stocks and variants from our stock management page, search for our SKU, and this is going to pull up that SKU that we want to list online. So to make edits to this stock, we're just going to navigate to the lower left-hand corner, click edit, and in the lower left-hand corner again, we are going to click this web listing allowed box. This is going to pull up that web listing details screen that looks very similar to that item detail that we were working with individual items. So for here, a lot of this is going to be very similar to that item details when configuring. So I'm just going to focus on the handful of things that are slightly different. First, auto list new items. So what this means is if this is selected, anytime you add more items into this SKU, it will automatically make them available for online purchasing. Whereas if this is not selected, you would have to go in and basically update that SKU every time. Now, the other difference that you see here is going to be your rate per box, items per box, and max quantity. So this basically just says, hey, I am willing to ship out 4 items per box. And so my bulk shipping for that would be X dollar amount. Instead of every time that customer orders one, they're paying $5 for each item. This allows you to add all 4 items to the same box for one shipping price. You also have the ability to basically cap what someone can buy online. So if we select this, we can say the most someone can buy online is maybe 7 at a time. So all of these things are fully configurable for you and your store so that you have full control over how you handle those listings. So when we click OK, this is going to lock in the SKU web settings at a company level. So let's go ahead and copy this here. Perfect. This just basically says some of the stores in our company have stock present. Would you like to create web listings for those? So at this point, if you say no, the stores can go in and manually list them online, or we can say yes, and it would say anybody in our company that has the SKU, if they have quantity in there, it would list it online for them. All right, that is pretty much what we have for listing the item online. Now, the only thing I did want to bring up is just editing an item with an already existing listing. So we have our laptop here, and when we right click on it, we can see the item listed on Baya. So let me pull this over here. So here's our item. If we wanted to update anything here, we can simply just click edit, head to our item details, and we can go through and make adjustments to our active online listing. Just keep in mind that it does take a few minutes for the server to update, so it's not going to happen immediately. So just keep an eye on it to make sure that it does reflect the changes that you want. Let's head back to our presentation here. And the next section we're going to get into is how to manage your listings, respond to offers, process orders, and handle pickups all in one place. We are going to head back into Bravo, where we are going to look at our dashboard, because our dashboard has a lot of task management buttons that will help us navigate this e-commerce selling. So we have web fulfillment, in-store pickup, locate payment. All of these helps you with your online sales. So as items are purchased through one of your integrated platforms, it will then funnel into one of these web buttons to do. So if you're just curious at what each button does, if you hover over it for quite some time, it does give you a little tooltip, just letting you know what each button does. So it looks like we have a web offer. So I'm going to go ahead and click into our web offers here. And this just basically means that a customer has found an item online that they love, but they wanted to negotiate the price. So anytime they make an offer on an item, so if we pull this up in here, make an offer, they can enter in the amount they want to pay for the item, and then it funnels directly into this queue. So from here, you have 72 hours to accept, counter, or decline the offer completely. You can do this here in Bravo or directly from our Shopkeeper app. This way, if you're really busy in the store, you have it at your fingertips at all times. So from here, we can either double click or just head to the negotiator from the right side menu. And this is going to pull up how we can go ahead and either accept the offer, counter it with another offer, or decline it completely. If your buyer has had any comments, it would list in this box up here. You can make comments back to your buyer. And over here, it just shows you how much you have it listed for versus the offer that came in. So right now they're asking for an 85% discount. It looks like this item has been in for a really, really long time. So at this point, you can either accept it, counter, and counter will give you another box where you can enter in another amount. So let's say we're going to do 400 bucks on the counter, or you can decline it outright. Now, when we create a counter offer here and we click OK, this is going to tell our customer, hey, there is a counter on your offer. And it's going to show up in the customer's offers, either on their bio website or in their mobile pawn app. So in here, it shows the offer is right here. I can either go in and accept the offer, counter again, and we can continue with that process. Now, a customer only is allowed up to 3 offers. And if the third one isn't accepted, they're not allowed to make any offers on that item. Now, anytime this item is accepted, the offers accepted are countered with the store, it's going to show here only for this specific customer. So other customers who are looking at this item won't see the discounted price. They'll see the actual listed price. All right. The other good thing to note is that this price will only last for the customer for 24 hours. So if they come back, let's say they put in the offer on Friday and they come back on Monday, this counter offer won't be available anymore. All right, so we took care of our web offer. Now let's go through and fulfill some sales. So we had someone come through our buy a platform. They bought an item from us. So we're going to head to our web fulfillment because we have 11 orders to fulfill. And we're going to see all of those items that we can kind of ring out and process those sales. Anything that is over 24 hours old is going to be highlighted in this light pink just to give you like, hey, this is getting old. We need to process this. The one that we are going to go ahead and take care of is going to be this one down at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and just double click on it. And this brings us to our fulfillment page. Up top, this is the item that it's saying, hey, you need to grab this item from your back room. Scan the barcode up here to fulfill it. So at this point, you can scan or type it in. And when you do, it's going to take that item out of this top portion here and say, okay, you physically have this item. The next portion is to include the tracking information because this will funnel over directly into buyandUsedGuns.com. And we have FedEx, UPS, USPS as main carrier options, and also an other if your preferred carrier isn't here. With any of these listed ones, we do have these handy buttons that if you click, it will open directly to the web page for that, where you can log into your account. So we're going to go ahead and enter our tracking number here. And we are going to complete this transaction. So once we click that complete transaction, it brings us to our transaction screen where we can click next. It's going to automatically fill that tender because it was a web order and also list that omni-channel for us for that better tracking. All right, so we are done with that one. We're going to go ahead and click save. Now, the very next thing I did want to show you was in-store pickups, because in your configurations, you can either have this as an item you ship out or something that someone would have to come to your store to pick up because it's just too big or too bulky to ship out, like a grand piano. So we're going to head back to our dashboard and we're going to navigate to our task management button to the web in-store pickup. So when we click on this, it does a few things. First, it tells us, hey, this person has this order. They're going to come and pick up this item. It's going to tell you where it's currently located. So if it's on your sales floor, you can basically go and grab the item and move it to your back room. So when we double click on this item, we can then relocate it so that nobody accidentally picks it up and tries to sell it. So we are going to move it to one of our back room locations. We're also going to scan the item to ensure that we physically have it so that it doesn't accidentally sit on our sales floor. And when we hit save, it's just marking that item as ready to pick up. Now, if your customer is physically in the store, at that point, you can complete the transaction. But we're just going to go ahead and save it being put into the back room for now. Now, the cool thing about this is that if you forget to move the item from your sales floor, Bravo does warn you that, hey, this item was sold online when you go to scan it. So when you scan it, it says, hey, this item was sold, or this item was on Baya. Make sure you put it aside for the customer. If the item sells in store and it's listed online, it will automatically pull that listing off of online. So there's no more having to go into your eBay or to Baya to remove those listings, creating the overselling of items that you just don't have. So really helps improve your seller rating. Our customer came in, they told us that they purchased something on Baya. This is the web order fulfillment that they got from Baya. It does have the barcodes that you can scan directly into the Smart Search. Now, the other thing is if they just have their email, it will list the order number without the barcode. So you can easily take this order number, use that drop down on Smart Search, head to web order number and scan it in. So our customer just came in, they showed us their order. We're going to pull up their order to fulfill it for them. So it automatically brings that item directly into our transaction screen where we can click next and save it out to finish that purchase. All right, awesome. This is just showing that we have a double check on here. So this is just scanning out the item to the customer to ensure we're handing over the correct item. Next up, we have some information about our fraud alerting system. Bravo does have a built-in fraud alerting system that is designed to help you catch any type of suspicious activity before it becomes a problem. It flags things like a mismatch between billing and shipping addresses, payments made with a card under a different name, and orders that are coming from high-risk locations or showing signs of unusual behavior. So anytime you see a transaction flagged with this yellow notification here during a web fulfillment process, it's your chance to go in and review the order, maybe contact that customer for verification, or even just head to the right side menu and cancel it altogether if something really feels off. This is just an extra layer of protection that gives you and your team a chance to act before a chargeback or other issues hit your bottom line. In this section, our goal is to show you how to manage web returns and process partial payments so that you can handle issues smoothly when they come up. So, of course, we're going to head back into Bravo, and we're going to go through two different scenarios. The very first one is that our customer who just came in and picked up the guitar, got it home, started looking at it, brought it in to get it restringed, and the person who was restringing it told him, hey, there's aftermarket parts on here. So now he's like, hey, I still really like it, but I don't want to pay the price I paid for it. No problem. We can go ahead and grab that order number from them, drop down that used goods bar down to web order number, type it in or scan it if they come into your store, and it will pull you into that web fulfillment page. Now, when you head to the right side menu, we are going to click the refund button here. And this is going to pull up a handful of options for you. We're going to include the reason why it was where the customer is looking for a refund. So we can put in here other, because it doesn't show aftermarket parts. And then we can select the type of refund. So at this point, we have full refunds here. Some include the tax, some will not include the tax. And then it also identifies whether you already have the package or if you need to get the item sent back to you. In this case, we are going to go ahead and select the partial refund since the customer is keeping the item. With this, the only thing you can refund up to is the full amount of the item. So you can't go beyond what you've already got from the customer. So the amount to refund is not going to be the full amount, but we did agree to refund $300 back to them. So at this point, we're going to take that amount to refund, enter that refund back to that customer. It does show you in big, bold red letters that the item will not be here. So if we were to select other options, it tells you the item's already in store, the item is in store, the item will be shipped back. So it gives you kind of a little hint on which one you should select. So once we're done inputting the refund, we can go ahead and enter any notes that we want to hear, and it's only for your use only. So we can go ahead and input aftermarket parts for our records, and we're going to go ahead and complete that refund. It's going to head back to the customer's web visa, and once that's done, it can't be undone. All right. Now, the next one is going to be that our customer purchased a turquoise bracelet from Baya, and when they opened up their package, it turns out that one of the stones on the bracelet was actually missing. So we're going to show you what it looks like when the customer processes that refund in Baya, and then how to process it in Bravo on your end. So we are in Baya. We have our two items here. Here's that bracelet that we are going to go ahead and request a refund for. So we're going to look at our orders. And now that this is updated, we are going to head to the item that we want to return. Click Return Item. The buyer is going to select a reason. Enter in any notes and click Return Item. This is going to pull up a shipping label for them. And this is what that shipping label looks like. This up top does have that web order. So when this item comes in, you would scan this directly into your Buya app and you can pull it up. All right, we do have a question. How would I refund a chargeback item? I don't have the item or the money. And when they try to return the sale, it prompts me to refund the money back to the card, even though we've lost the chargeback. Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. The customer purchased an item from you and disputed the charge with their bank. So you lost the chargeback, which means that the item is out of your store and you no longer have the money for it. And then you want to process a return of the item or to count it as a loss. Okay, so technically at that point, since the chargeback was lost, you're assuming that loss with funds. It's a shortage in cash. So if you bring the item back in, then you're basically counting a double shortage. For accounting, and the place still gets credit. Oh, okay. That's a good question. Let me put it aside for right now, and we will work through it at the end to see how we can accomplish it. Alrighty, so our customer just issued a return to our store. From Bravo's dashboard, there is a button fully dedicated to returns, which it might take a minute to update. So right now we have 3 people who have processed returns. So if we click in here, it's going to show us everybody who wants a refund back for the items that they want to return. Find your customer that's returning it back to you. You can also see the web order number and it will match with the little barcode that's listed on the package. So once we double click on that, we are going to scan that barcode in. And now we can go ahead and process that full refund for that customer. In here, we do have the ability to take stuff away. So if we did not want to return the shipping, we can go ahead and just remove the shipping out, or we can keep everything in here to refund back to the customer. Again, we have our store notes here. So item is missing a stone. And we can go ahead and complete that refund. So this is going to push it through the transaction screen. It's going to return to the customer's form of payment. There is no way to reverse this. So we have to be sure that, this is something you really do want to do. All right, perfect. So we've got both of our returns done. One partial initiated by the store and one full initiated by the customer. So now that we are done with this portion of it, we are going to head back to our presentation here, because now we are going to get to listing and selling with eBay. So with Bravo's eBay integration, you can list to eBay directly from Bravo with no need to log in separately or create or remove listings. So I won't be able to do a live demo for this part just because the eBay practice environment isn't always reliable. So we don't have it connected to the environment. But what we can do is show you with screenshots to kind of give you the overall look and feel of it. So to create a Buy It Now, we are going to navigate to the right side menu and click eBay listings from the dashboard. From here, and this has a bunch of stuff in the way, so I'm just going to grab my laser pointer here. And on the right side menu where we have all of our pre-built lists in all of the other management areas, that all available is going to pull up all of the items that are ready to list and will show items marked as they are able to be listed on eBay. Now, when we highlight the item, one good practice to do is just navigate to this right side menu and ensure that eBay category is lining up. With eBay, as long as Bravo has a recognizable UPC attached to the item, eBay will automatically categorize it with other items using that same UPC. Now, if for some reason it's not connecting the dots, you can always click on these three dots here to pull up this category box where you can then select the specific category. Now, one important piece with listing on eBay is making sure your item details are accurate and searchable, and that's where the advanced item specifics come in. So in this lower left-hand corner, to open this up, you would just click on this little arrow and it will expand open this box. Now, eBay will attempt to map everything over from Bravo into eBay, but certain required fields might be missing that eBay wants. And you can tell they're required because it has this handy little asterisk right next to it. And that's just basically letting you know, like, this is something that eBay wants you to have, whether it's brand, model, color, condition. It really just depends on the category. So at this point, you would just, again, hit this little arrow button to expand it, fill in whatever required information is needed. And then at that point, it's more complete. The item has all of the information it needs. It's more likely to appear in the search results and get sold faster. So if you're ever unsure of what to enter in any of these boxes, if you start typing in there, eBay will basically start pulling a list of all accepted values that you can choose from. So that's really handy in helping you stay compliant and visible on eBay. Now, the next thing to note is that when it's time to place the item on eBay, of course, before you do that, make sure everything is accurate. Double check your photos, make sure that pricing, descriptions look good, because once it's live, one, that's what buyers see. And two, if you need to make changes after it's live, you basically have to go in, remove the listing, make the changes, and then update it. It's not as easy to update as Buya or Used Guns or even your company branded. So just checking accuracy before you list is key. In this same screen, you do have access to the estimator where you can run it back through, the right side menus where you can read, identify the eBay category, or even notes to add extra notes in there. Now, when you are ready, just simply right-click on the item, click that Place on eBay button, and from there, eBay will go through a verification process. And there could be two outcomes, right? The positive one is, hey, your item is listed on eBay. That makes it easy, nothing to do. The second one is going to be funneled into this pending review list. And this just basically says, hey, there's something that you have to do before it can get listed. So we're going to pop into our next screen where we see a bunch of these little information bubbles. So if you notice an information bubble next to your listing, and I don't have the little hover, I don't think I did. Nope, I don't. If you hover over it, it's going to show you exactly what needs attention. So if you see a blue information bubble, it usually means that eBay has made adjustments to your listing. Like maybe it was listed as very good condition and eBay adjusted it to just a good condition. So there's nothing that you have to do. They're just letting you know. Yellow icons mean that the listing is valid, but eBay is recommending a few changes. It could be missing some item specifics that they think could really help make it more visible. But ultimately, you can still list your item. You don't have to make the changes. It's just recommended. Lastly, the red information bubbles is a no-go. It means that something is big that is missing or something major is incorrect and the listing cannot go live until it's fixed. And I will make sure that I get the little picture in here just to kind of show you what it looks like, because it does give you detailed information about what to correct. Now, another thing to kind of note is that unlike Baya or used guns, eBay returns and refunds, although you are notified in Bravo, you still have to handle them in eBay directly to manage that process fully. The same thing goes with communication. So if your customer is messaging you because there's an issue with the item they purchased from you, that communication is not going to funnel directly into Bravo. Check your eBay regularly to make sure you're not missing vital communication from your customer that could lead to a negative response. Now, if an item is sold, of course, it's going to definitely roll up into that dashboard management button for web fulfillments. So you can still go ahead and process that through Bravo easily. All right, so time to head into some reporting. And just to make it quick and easy, all online sales automatically funnel into your reports under the sales section. Now, whether they happen to be on Baya, used guns, company branded, or even eBay, there's not going to be any extra steps to take on your part. Sales are tracked just like your in-store transactions, making it super easy. Where you can find specific e-commerce sales data in Bravo, let's go ahead and head back in there, is going to be on your e-commerce metrics report that you can find on your dashboard. So right here, e-commerce metrics. And when we click this open, this is going to pull up a dashboard that gives you a breakdown of all of your sales. It does show in-store as well as online. And the cool thing about this is that even those platforms that might not be integrated with Bravo, like if you sell on Amazon, as long as you're updating that omnichannel on the tender screen, you'll be able to track all of that from here. So it gives you your gross profits. It gives you a breakdown by year, month to date, year to date, and more. So great report to really dive into the profitability and success of your e-commerce sales. The month to date sales details by channel shows you exactly how well your store is done for the month, broken down by omnichannel, as well as the individual items sold for that. And the same thing with your year-to-date sales detail by channel. Now, the other one, and we have to head back into the presentation to show it, is going to be the web settlement. So the web settlement report shows you a breakdown of all of your integrated sales revenue, what was collected, what fees were applied, like your success fees, and then also what your stores paid out. So really great tool for reconciling payouts from platforms like Baya and eBay with your Bravo sales data. Now, just to give you guys a reminder, let's talk about success fees. Now, these only apply when you make a sale through these integrated platforms. So the success fees will really depend on your Bravo contract. So for your specific success fees, take a look at that for reference. But here's how high they can go. So Baya has up to 11%, used guns up to 8%, eBay up to 5%. And just keep in mind that Bravo also has their own fees that they charge that kind of get taken out as items sold. And then there's the company branded website. And the coolest thing about this is that when you have your own company branded site, there are absolutely no success fees. So you keep 100% of the sale. It's your store, your branding, your customers without competing listings or other third-party distractions. Also, if the item doesn't sell through an online platform, Bravo doesn't charge you any success fees at all. You're only paying when a transaction actually happens. So if you're focused on building long-term online sales and protecting your margins, your branded site is a strong option to lean into. And the other cool thing about this is that when you pair this up with Mobile Pawn, if your customers click on that little shopping cart, it automatically opens up to your company branded. So still connecting them with all of your inventory. All right, that is everything we planned today. I know that we go through a lot in this webinar, so I do want to open it up to you for any questions that you may have. I'm going to close this out and then I'm going to stay back for Jonathan. So thank you so much for joining us today. We do host webinars every Wednesday and Thursday. So if you found this helpful, come hang out with us again. Each session is packed with tips, walkthroughs, real support to help you get the most of Bravo. We hope to see you next time. If you're interested in seeing how we kind of work through this issue, by all means, stay along. If not, you can always hop off, and I hope you have a great day.